Yay!
So I have the replay opened. So if you want to look at this stream and then
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, okay, now.
wait, is there a long latency, or is it okay on
Yeah,
the
it's
on the
it seems to
screen?
be in real time.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I guess we can start. So this is firstly, I don't understand. Have you played ranked yet or no?
Oh no, I'm unranked.
Okay, what's your level?
um, I stupidly made a North American account a long time back, so I had 10 levels on that, and this one is another 10 levels. So I guess you can say I'm about level 20.
Okay, so are you going mid here or? Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, this
Mid,
one's mid.
mid.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. So, um, in this matchup, what did you find difficult? I guess.
I think I was really confident that I could beat Kassadin because he's a melee as well. I think I overextended definitely, and I didn't really know his kit, so I was pretty ignorant going into this. Other than that, oh yeah, I think if I'm not wrong, I think I got ganked as well. I had terrible warding skills, so yeah, it was pretty abysmal, and I lost my lane pretty quickly after that lah.
Okay. What you should know is Kassadin is not really a champion until level 6 because Kassadin's basic abilities, I don't know if you read up on them or anything, but he has a Q, which is point and click damage and silence, W, which is an auto attack reset, it just gives him more damage on his auto, and E is a slow. That's it. He has no escapes or anything like that until level 6, where he gets basically a flash on a 3-second cooldown that deals damage. So,
Yeah, that was scary.
okay, so Talon, do you know what Talon is good at in this game?
um, okay, I've done some research on him. He's supposed to be an assassin. He is AD, and I'm supposed to build lethality items on him. I'm told that I should flank people and team fights, and it's all about combos as well. Something about like mechanics have to be really good and accurate.
Okay, so let me just talk about something first. So, um, let me just. Alright, can you see the paint on this stream?
The paint,
The
no
paint.
way. Oh, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Alright, so the way the game works at the moment is there's, let's say this is game knowledge, right?
Mm.
Okay. And then, so if you know this entire thing, you are basically God in this game. Okay, let's just say that this is what that represents. Now, currently, the way this works is it's divided into two sections. This section here, which is majority, is macro, and this
Mm.
section here is micro. Do you know what these two things are?
Yeah, mechanics are the micro, and
Yes.
macro is like your decisions throughout the
Yes,
game.
correct. So,
Ah,
as a new player, if you had a choice to tackle either micro or macro, which one would you pick?
definitely macro.
Okay, so this is what I suggest for everyone, because knowing this will get you to master, probably master, diamond plus master-ish level without having any micro knowledge, or very
Ah,
limited micro knowledge. So, when you say things like you don't know what combo to use or you're not sure about executing things properly, I suggest you skip that entirely and you don't focus on it at the moment. Because there are plenty of
oh,
other things you can look at that will help you win games without having to be skilled mechanically.
okay, cool.
Okay? So, what does macro mean to you? What is macro?
Okay, so macro is, I think, your decisions on the fly, and as the game draws out, how you strategize. Like I would imagine it would be things like winning your lane and deciding when to roam, deciding where to ward and stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah, so there's a major part of macro. The biggest part of macro is probably decisions you make influenced by CS. Do you know what CS is?
Yeah, the creep score,
Creep
yeah.
score, yeah. So minions are key to understanding how to play macro. Okay, so
Mm,
after that comes, warding. Then comes priority. Um, I don't know, ganking, stuff like that. But this is where we should be focusing on right now, because I don't know how many of my videos you've seen, but there is that one video I talk about probabilities and how uh, creep score is the only guaranteed method that you will ever get a lead in this game.
yeah, and
Right?
I also saw your when you told the other talent player to slow push, and yeah, that
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
yeah.
So we're essentially looking for things that guarantee an advantage, no matter how big or small, but it's guaranteed. That's what matters here. Okay?
Okay.
Alright.
Mm.
Okay, I think I can move on now. So, uh, okay. So let's see how this plays out. Okay, so you enter lane. Now,
Mm.
you can see he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing already. Do you know what he's doing?
Sorry, I can't see the screen right now. Maybe there's a bit of lag.
Oh,
Ooh.
hold on. Yeah, yeah, my bad, my bad. You're right, you're right. Sorry. I think maybe that should do it. Is it okay now?
I see. Okay, yeah, I see it.
Okay, okay. So, okay, let me just go back a bit and then. Okay, so watch this and tell me what Kassadin is doing now. Okay, before you W here, what was Kassadin doing?
He's overextending.
Not necessarily, but what is he doing to the wave?
He is. Is he shoving it too fast? Oh,
Well,
he's last hitting.
no, no, no. So he's not less. I think he's pushing the lane, right? Because he's
Ah, yeah.
reducing your minion's health, and you're not. So the lane is going to come into you naturally, right?
True, true.
Okay. So in a situation like this, where it's Talon versus Kassadin, you have to understand that Talon has probably the biggest power spike in this game at level 2. Because
Yeah.
when you do WQ, you can take off half his health without ignite.
Hmm.
Okay? So,
Hmm.
if Kassadin is pushing the lane in, what you should do is you should wait for the lane to come into you. Because what will happen then is the lane will come to this point here, and it
Hmm.
will be really, really easy to get a level 2 engage on him. Because if the wave is under his tower, because if you push it instead, it's under his tower, and you can never do damage to him because he's under the tower,
That's true. Yeah.
right? Okay, so let's watch. Let's see what happens. So here you push it back, which I would consider a mistake, because now it's gonna go under his tower, and then your level 2 power spike doesn't do anything,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Hmm.
the last hit, okay.
But what about harassing him? You're saying wait until he gets too close to my tower, then I can start poking and harassing him.
Well, that if it's under his tower, you can never harass him because you can't land your Q because you will dash to him, right?
Hmm.
But if he's under or near your tower, then you can harass freely because he can't retaliate.
Ah, okay, okay.
Okay. So now watch this, right? If you want to harass him in this position, you can watch your minion's health, and if you see this, it's like he's about to go for the last hit. Now, when he's doing this, he's locked into this animation of last hitting, right?
Hmm.
Which means
Yeah.
you have one animation frame, to walk up and maybe land an auto attack, and he cannot do anything about that because he's going for the last hit.
Okay.
right? So here, I would have been standing right next to that minion, getting ready to auto him, because I know he's gonna do that. I know.
Okay.
Okay, so here again, this minion, he's gonna go for this after it's a bit lower, right? Watch. Boom. Okay, so you landed W, that's pretty good, but I would have walked in because he is going to go for that,
Ah,
right?
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I guess
now,
I wanted two for the price of one.
okay, so this is the problem, right? If you push the lane, this is what happens. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
now, what happens? You get level 2, and it's going to be under his tower.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So look at. Okay, so if this happens, you shouldn't be this far up. You should come to the middle of the lane. There's nothing that can happen to you that's really bad. So you should just be in the
Okay.
middle. There's nothing you can easily run away if the jungler comes. You know, it's not a big deal. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right. So you see what the problem is, right? Even if you're here, you can never engage onto him now because he's just going to freeze it under his tower, and then that's it. But he's really bad, so he's pushing it back into you. So that's fine. You know.
I see.
So okay,
Is there such thing as unfreezing a wave?
such a thing as.
As unfreezing a wave?
Well, kind of, but it would like unfreezing a wave relies on the enemy to make a mistake to unfreeze it.
Oh,
So if you see
okay.
like a puck, if they're freezing and they accidentally expose themselves to a trade, for example, and you get a really good trade in, then they would be forced to unfreeze the wave because you can hug the wave no matter how close to the tower it is, and then just let it push towards you because they will never be able to freeze it anymore from there. It's a bit
Wow.
specific, but you know. Okay, so here
Yeah,
level
this
2,
is
and then
advanced.
you can't do anything, so it sucks. All right. So again, right? Remember what we said. If this minion is low, he is going to be locked into the animation, so you should get ready to do something. So again, I wouldn't be
Okay.
pushing. I would just let it come to me instead, because this is okay. So he doesn't get it because you were threatening him to do a double EQ, so he didn't walk up. So you unintentionally did that, which is really good. Um,
Oh,
so you know what I mean, right? Because like here,
yeah.
watch. Okay, look. He wants to queue this minion, but he can't because you're here,
Hmm.
right? He can't get in range
Yeah.
because you're here. So look at him, right? He's just moving, and then he tries, and then he can't. He doesn't get it.
So just my presence is kind of zoning him
Yes,
off.
correct. Yeah, that's a very important part of this game is understanding that in reality there are plenty of situations where you holding an ability has more pressure than using it.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so because the moment you use the ability, it doesn't matter whether it hits or misses. The ability is used, right? So
Hmm.
it's as if you don't have that ability anymore. They can just do whatever they want after. But if you hold the ability and you constantly just walk near him, threaten to use it, but never ever use it, then that generates more pressure.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, so obviously, like the skill of last hitting is going to come through practice. It's not something I can like really help you with. You just have to, play the game and like get familiar with it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that comes just with practice. Okay, so you get the cannon minion, and again, this is pushing in. This is really really bad because he
Yeah.
gets it for free. Okay, um, so again, this is way too far. You can be standing much closer than this. You don't have to be this far away.
Ah.
Okay.
So I gotta stand close even though he's hugging his tower
Okay. Do you
and
see this?
mm-hmm.
You could have done this at level 2, but you can't because it was under his tower.
Yeah.
Now imagine
Yeah.
if the wave was here. You can chase with flash because it's not
Ah.
under his tower. So you have more
Yeah.
distance, right? Okay.
Mm.
Okay, he's recalling. What are you thinking of doing now if the enemy is
I was
recalling like this?
I was thinking of just shoving everything I could into this.
The thing is that you you have to understand that he is going to come back to lane before you will, right? So
Mm.
what you have to understand is if you push this entire wave, that's approximately the same time as him going back to base and then walking to maybe this position here around the Nexus towers. Now, what will happen is he misses maybe 2 minions, but when he comes back to lane, he will be able to freeze the lane here.
Oh, okay.
So again, we will end up in the same situation where it's under his tower and you can never do anything, and he just gets to level 6, and then that's when you really don't do anything against him because he has ult, right?
Yeah, I
So
see, I see.
so what you should do is in this position you can see there's one, two on his side, two magic minions on his side, and two on your side, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to happen here is the wave is gonna your wave is gonna crash in to here, and because there are the same number of minions on both sides, the wave is just gonna stay here.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
what can you do?
I guess I should have just allowed those two minions of mine to just get killed and allow that the enemy minion wave to advance to the middle of the lane, is it?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would probably throw my W down to cover this group of minions here. I would just W it and then maybe throw a Q as well, and then I would straight away recall.
Oh,
So I am
okay.
essentially just loosening it. So what happens is this wave will come in, and then these two magic minions will be able to get a few kills. But then because your wave is still quite far away, his wave will be able to finish that off, which means that they will meet in the middle afterwards.
Oh, if let's say I don't throw that W that you suggested,
Yeah.
they would kill those two minions of mine, and they will meet my minions in the middle with more health than they are supposed to have. Is it? And
Yes,
I mean,
correct. Yeah, and then what will happen then is that his wave is guaranteed to push too fast into you, and then you can't really do anything because if the wave
oh,
is
okay,
under
yeah.
your tower, then you can't roam, right? But
Right.
if you loosen the wave, it meets in the middle. But then by the time you come back, you have the control of whether or not you want it to push in, or whether or not you want to keep it under your tower.
Oh, I see. Damn, it's such a delicate
Yeah,
balance.
well, it is, but see, this is like the problem is that if you're very new to the game, it's very um um like I would rather that you focused right now on just understanding the abilities of champions in the game so that you understand the matchup more, and focusing on the mechanical aspect of farming. Um, and only after that should you try and push for these very these smaller details in the lane, right?
Okay.
I'm just
Hmm.
really trying to narrow it down so that it's more general instead of very detailed in what I'm saying, so that you take a more general approach to this until you start to get more familiar with some of the other more important mechanics.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I also be like information overload for
Yeah,
me
yeah,
as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is a bit weird because now the lane is gonna go into him. Yeah.
Ay,
So
yeah.
watch this, right? So he is
Hmm.
going to miss this. Okay. Okay, so
Okay.
you're actually roaming instead of recalling. Okay, do you know what the problem with this is if you roam?
His wave will push into my tower to. Oh wait, yeah, because Kassadin will come back and then he'll kill off all my minions, and while I'm roaming, he would start eating into my tower.
Well,
Is that it?
that's kind of it, yeah, but the thing is that if this roam doesn't work, then you will have to come back to lane regardless, because obviously his wave is going to crash into your tower, right? And you can't miss the
Yeah.
wave. So when that happens, he will have gotten items and you don't have any items. So that means
Ah.
he can actually trade with you, but you can't. well, you still can, but it's much less like in your favor than it is in his at this point, right?
Just a quick question. Is there an optimal amount of gold I should have before I
No,
recall, or should I
absolutely
just...
not. No, no, no. So when you recall, you should never recall on the basis of being able to purchase items. It should be seen as a way to reset your lane or to reset your mana or health
Oh,
in the
okay.
lane. Never back because you can buy a core item or something like that. That's not a good way to look at it.
Oh, damn, I've been looking at it wrong.
Yeah, it's a everyone looks at it like that, but it's not how you should be. Okay, so um, one thing that I mentioned in one of my videos is uh, make everything you do a guaranteed advantage, right? Now, if you look at
Mm,
this, there is actually probably zero guarantee that you get an advantage off of this. You maybe you do. There is a world where you get a kill, get two kills, and then or an assist or something, and then that's an advantage. That's true. But there's also a world where they just get away, and then you waste your time.
mm.
Okay, so let's watch how this plays out. And then, yeah, so
Oh,
this is what I mean, right? Now, instead of going down to the middle of the river here, you could have spent that time backing, for example, and then you would have come back to lane with full mana and health, and you would have been able to get like longsword boots against them,
yeah.
and that probably, he has ruby crystal, and you don't have an item to match it, so it sucks to trade now.
Mm.
And obviously you're low on resources as well, which is really important here, so you can't really trade. Now, see, look, do you remember previously when he wasn't when he never walked up to minions if you were near? Now he's okay with
Mm.
it because he knows you don't have many resources. So look, he's just walking
Um,
up and he's not threatened by you because he knows that he can win the trade, right?
okay. Because you can see my mana is low as well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can see your health and mana. See, look, he's not scared to trade anymore. He knows you can't do
Yeah,
anything. So in that case, you should have just recalled with just slowly loosening the wave a bit, right? And then you come back, you have items, you can match it, and then you can trade again.
I see. Okay.
Okay.
So just to sum it up, I should recall every time there is a clear disadvantage in terms of lack of health, mana, items lah.
Um, you should recall every time your lane is in a position where you don't have to catch any minions.
Ah, okay.
So, do you remember like when the wave was here? Like there was no reason to stay in lane because he recalled, so there's nothing you can do to him. You can't kill him or anything. And also, the wave
True.
is really under his tower that there's no point really staying as a melee champion to be able to do anything.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so now imagine, right, you did this trade, but with longsword boots as well, and with full mana. You can see
Yeah.
that there's clearly, like, something missing here. Okay, this is horrible. Okay, so we get killed. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect him to flash. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, but he does. Okay. Okay, you come back to lane. Okay, this wave is pretty good. So what I would do is, you bought Tiamat though. Okay, if
Oh,
you
I'm not
have,
supposed to.
well, you can, but in this matchup you probably don't want it because Tiamat forces you to push every wave that you encounter. Because when you want to freeze the wave, for example, you would be last hitting all the minions. But if you have Tiamat, it will deal AoE damage with every last hit. So
Mm.
you're indirectly pushing the wave, even if you don't want it to.
What occasions should what kind of matchup should I buy Tiamat
So
on?
against mages like Syndra, Lux, maybe even Ari,
Oh,
because your win condition against mages is usually going to be hard shove the lane and then roam to other lanes. But
um,
but against Kassadin, you can win the trades. You can win every trade again because he's like a melee champion, right?
Oh,
So it's like he needs to walk up to the wave. So if your wave is under your tower, then he can't walk up to you, but you can walk up to him because obviously you have the initiative whether or not you want to trade, right?
okay. So you're saying matchups where I'm at a disadvantage, I should get Tiamat, while matchups where I can easily overwhelm
Kind
the.
of, yeah, because in matchups where you're in a disadvantage, you would like to roam to get a win condition rather than to stay in lane, if that makes sense.
Ah, okay, okay. So, I mean, just to generalize it, basically, ranged matchups would be a disadvantage to me, in which
In
getting
most
Tiamat.
cases, yeah, there are lots of range matchups which are really bad for you. Like, I know Syndra is a horrible matchup, I think, for Talon. What else? There's tons of mages that really like mess with you.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so in that case, you would just want to like get Tiamat and then get mobility boots as fast as possible, and then just hard shove every lane with Tiamat, and then use mobility boots to just roam to other lanes and look for kills that way.
Oh,
But against
okay. Well,
Kassadin,
yeah.
you want to just go full lethality. So just stack like I don't know, like Yume's Ghostblade, Duskblade,
Ah,
things like that, and then it's single target damage. It doesn't matter because you don't really want to push the wave anyways. You don't even
I
need boots. You don't even need to upgrade your boots until your first item actually in matchups like these because you're not roaming anyways. So you know.
Okay, so I mean, let's say I'm versus an Akali. Can I apply that same principle as well? Not get boots,
Akali,
just.
that's a tough one. I think Akali is also a bad matchup for Talon. Yeah, I would probably say so. And the thing is that Akali can't really match your push once you get Tiamat, I don't think, because of her energy resource. So she can't really push the wave as fast as you can. So yeah, I would probably say so for Akali as well. You just get Tiamat, mobility, boots, and then just hard shove the wave, and then she can't really do anything about the push because she can't counter push it, and then that's it.
Okay, wow. Okay,
Okay.
I never knew that.
Alright, so here you are pushing the wave. Now, this is really bad because this wave is going to come in, and Kassadin now gets to take the entire wave without any threat from you.
Ah,
So you
yes.
are roaming, however, you could have kept the wave here until he comes and then look for a trade and then roam. There's something like that, but you know, pushing in this matchup in general is not really that good. Okay, so you come
Okay.
bot. Now, okay, okay, that's pretty good. Now I would recall here.
Oh.
Okay, so I wouldn't advise going mid because do you remember what we said last time? If you go mid with resources that Kassadin can match, then he will trade with you.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so if you're half health, then I would definitely back here.
So I should. It's all right to sacrifice some of my tower's health to
Well,
reset myself.
if you're in mid lane and your health is this much, then I would say no. But since you're bot lane, adding an extra 5 seconds or so to come back and travel an extra distance isn't really going to hurt you much more
Ah,
than just walking to lane with half health.
true,
Okay.
true.
So you come in. Okay, you don't miss this wave, which is quite nice, to be fair. Yeah,
Ah,
Kassadin is. This is. At this point, you have to understand that Kassadin has had all the time that he needs to get whatever he needs to get.
mm,
And because of that, you know, he's much more. Kassadin scales so much better than Talon does. Um,
ah,
so. Okay, it's good to push the wave here. Do you know why?
um. Oh gosh. Is it because? Is it because he's probably not going to come back anytime soon since
Yeah,
he's roaming?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's roaming, so you just
Oh,
push the wave, he will miss this wave. That's simply it. And then after you push here, you can simply recall, and then it should be fine.
okay, okay.
Actually, no, sorry. You can take, yeah, you can take like one plate probably.
Ah, I think I do that. Yeah, yeah,
Nearly, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Now here, I would just recall. I think it's a waste to stay. Um, okay, you could have
Oh,
recalled
since
there
changed
because
that.
you could have recalled because like the speed that Jinx pushes this incoming wave into you is not enough for it to be threatening. So you have enough time to recall and then come back to the lane without missing
Mm.
anything against her. But and also Cassidy is still top, so you don't really have to worry about anything. But okay, I guess you
So
stay.
assuming it's a champion that can wave clear really quickly, I shouldn't recall. But in this case, she couldn't
Yeah,
clear as fast as.
yeah. In that case, if that was like some champion that can clear really fast, then I probably wouldn't have. But against
Ah,
Jinx, I
okay.
don't think you need to worry. Okay, so this is
Mm.
pretty bad because Kassadin has backed 2 times, and we have only backed once. So this is like we're not matching his power, right? Because he has Rod, and then now what do you have? You have 1.6k
Oh,
gold, and you haven't used it at all. But he has,
ah,
right? Look, he only has 100.
yeah. Oh wow. I should be taking into consideration how many times he has returned.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, okay, okay.
So if you notice that there's a difference between his items and your items, then you know that there's something wrong in terms of you should have backed more often. That's
Yeah.
usually the case. Not always, but usually. All right. So
I was so confused as to why I wasn't doing as much damage as I should be.
well, yeah, because you never reset your items, so
Yeah.
you know. Okay. So
Ah,
uh, again, you have this priority, but you can use it to back, but you don't. So this is quite awkward again. See, look, he's under a tower, so you can never trade with him. There's no point.
yeah.
Why stay?
Ah,
Yeah.
damn. And I was thinking I have a level on him. Why couldn't I? It
Yeah,
was really
but to
frustrating.
be fair, level is pretty big. But considering that he's already back twice, and you have like 2,000 gold like backlogged, it's probably not gonna amount to much.
That is true. Yeah.
Okay, so now because you didn't back earlier, he takes a trade onto you that favors him, and you're forced to back, which means that it's unfavorable because you didn't take
Yeah.
the favorable back earlier. So this is what happens. He gets
Damn.
2 plates, 3 plates actually. Now you do come back to lane, and he needs to recall. However, he's much more ahead than you are in plates and farm, I think, as well. Oh, he's actually even in farm. Okay, interesting.
Oh man.
All right, so what you can do here is instead of pushing the lane, you can roam because the minion RNG will decide that this wave is coming into you because look, this minion is lower health than that one, right?
Yeah.
So his wave is going to push into you. This is guaranteed. So you can
Mm.
roam, and then when you come back, the wave will be under your tower, which is where you want it to be, right?
But should I be worried if I roam and then I come back, I find Kassadin and the wave taking more plates off my tower? Is that something I should be worried about?
Well, he just got back to base, so he won't make it in time to be able to chip off any plates for you to like roam. Like if you
Um,
start roaming, um, like here, if you go roam now, like you'll have enough time to do something and then come back, for sure.
Um, just another quick question. How do I know? Because at that point of time, I didn't have the vision, so I wasn't sure if he went to Rome or if he went to back to base. But either
What,
way, it's the
Kassadin?
same, right? Yeah.
A Kassadin like this would never roam. I don't think there's anyone that would roam like this. Like if you like,
Um.
he has no mana and half health. There's no way he's going to roam. No way.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
guaranteed that he's
But
not gonna roam.
assuming it's another champion that yeah. But yeah, that's true. I mean, with such low mana and stuff, I don't
There's no
think he will.
champion that would roam like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so you push the wave in and then okay. Yeah, I guess this is fine. You could while he's backing you could take tower plates, but why do that when you can just go bot to go for a gank, right? Because
Yeah.
you're like if you were a mage, I can understand why you would do this because you can roam, but you have mobility boots. You should be roaming. That's where you should get your advantages from after casting gets level 6.
Okay. So roaming is more important than taking plates
Um,
generally.
in most matchups, yes, yeah.
Ah,
Now,
okay.
now if you can't roam, let's say that these three people weren't here because they, I don't know, they backed or whatever, or they're insanely fed to the point where you can't do anything, then obviously taking plates is better. But here, this is so free. You can come here and get 2 kills for free. That's guaranteed. I don't know about Pike, but Jinx and Caitlyn you can definitely get.
But they might kill me. Yeah, I mean, if I don't know.
They could, but if you look, like, she has no mana. She has no mana.
Oh, true, true. Yeah.
Minimum, you could come here, take Caitlyn, and then just leave, and that's perfectly okay as well,
Okay.
right?
Mm.
Okay, so now you took that tower hit. He gets to push you in because you took that. This is really bad ult. Yeah, he can trade.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Ah.
he actually dies though.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ah.
Here you can recall. Oh, you got the plate. Okay, nice, nice. Alright, you can recall. Yeah, this is good. What do you go for? Okay, that's pretty good choice actually.
Oh, good.
I
Yay.
In this matchup I would have gone for Hex Drinker first because I don't want to get Tiamat, like I said. So I would have gone
Ah.
Hex Drinker into like Yume's Ghostblade or Dustblade or something like that, and then Tiamat maybe like third item or something when I
Yeah,
get the
I was
push.
gonna. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that later. I mean, if there's time,
Of course.
because I'm so confused if I should get Ghostblade first or Dusk, because on Reddit
Oh,
everyone's
okay.
saying different things.
Okay. Alright, that's fine. Okay, Cassidy is roaming, so what should you do?
Uh,
You have two
I guess
choices. When the enemy laner is roaming, what should you do? You have two choices.
I was thinking shove
What's the other choice?
to roam as well or
Okay.
chase him.
Okay. And the basis upon which you make that decision is decided by the state of his roam. So, if you look at this, you can kind of tell what's going to happen, right? Cassinan is gonna come in. He's going to commit everything onto Jinx and then leave. Now,
Hmm.
if you start roaming now, you probably won't get anything done because the thing is that either Cassidy gets entangled under the tower and he gets to kill him because obviously the tower is here, so he's able to. It's really easy to kill him. Or he gets away, and because his ult is a flash, you can't really catch up to him. So I would say that there's no point coming down here. It it doesn't really
Okay.
affect anything. So what should you do? Okay, just hard shove this, get plates, and that's it. That's your
Okay.
best course of outcome. But deciding whether to roam here is purely experience based, and you'll try roam and you'll try not roam and you'll see what works, see what doesn't, and then based on that you would build your
It's
decision.
difficult with Jinx. Yeah. No, I was just saying that Jinx is covering his lane, so she's kind of
Yeah,
cock
so
blocking me
if
from there.
well, yeah, if Jinx is covering your lane and she's pushing it in, then of course you can roam because you want the lane to come in anyways. So you can just let her take it,
Hmm.
you don't have to be there. Oh
Okay.
man. Okay.
Yeah, you're. Yeah. I guess he killed.
Okay. Okay, there's like 9 million people mid. Um, yeah, this is a bit awkward.
So at this point, the wave is. Should I consider the wave? I mean, if I were to redo this, I shouldn't even be. I should be last hitting. I shouldn't be Wing
Yeah,
her
but
wave. Just let it move
yes,
further.
correct. But even if you last hit here, you would still be pushing the wave because you have Tiamat. So
Ah,
you,
yes.
you wouldn't have gotten, you should have not gotten Tiamat until like second or third item, and then it would have been fine. But I don't know what this is. This is pretty. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's bad.
Speaking of which, should I have dropped the control ward on either of those long bushes? Because yeah, I think I remember you saying that it's a lazy place to put a ward,
Yeah, it
but
is because the thing is that Talon. has so much potential with his priority that you are able to place wards into deeper locations because of mobility boots.
Um,
So
okay.
it's insanely lazy to put it here as Talon. If you were a mage, then I can understand, but you're Talon with mobility boots and E. You know, it's
But so many people tend to camp in that bush. It makes me kind of paranoid.
well, they're all bad because Talon has a really easy time to escape from a gank from either of these sides because you can just walk to either wall and E over, and then they can't do anything. So
Yeah,
those people are
I have a
just
problem where yeah, I have a problem where I really eat over it, so everything's red, and then I
oh
can't
yeah yeah
escape.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, okay, Cassidy's there again. Just push the wave. Now you could come here and it would be good, but you're not. So I guess pushing this is the next best thing you can do.
As in, you're saying that I should have joined that
Yeah,
team fight over there, is it?
you probably should have followed because there's no need for you to come to the wave anyways. It's not like under your tower. It's in the middle, so it's fine. You know.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So okay,
Um,
nice. That's pretty good.
uh, Sorry, can you just say again, why would you decide to join that team fight instead of shoving
Yes.
while I have the opportunity?
Yep. Okay. So let me just skip back. Okay. So here, look, the wave is in the middle, right?
Mm.
And as we said earlier, as much as possible, we would want the wave to come in towards us instead of them.
Ah, okay.
So if you stay here and you last hit or you push or whatever, then the wave goes into them guaranteed. But here, since Kassadin is missing the farm as well, it doesn't matter if you leave the wave alone, because obviously it has a chance of coming into you, which is what you want, right? So if you come
Okay.
here, you're making use of the time that you have by not needing to go mid, essentially.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So Mordekaiser
Okay.
ult, and then see if you were here, you could have gone for the Mordekaiser or maybe even the Pike, and then that would have been a kill for sure, actually, with ignites and ult, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So here you can leave the lane because you don't have any minions to kill, so you can just leave. It's pretty okay. Yep, and this is pretty good actually. That you get a kill here. It's really good. Now Pike tries to go for the execute. You really need to pay more attention to what's happening behind you. This is like insane like tunnel vision. Like you're only seeing Jinx, and then
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
good.
you get the kill, but it's not worth, to be honest. Like it's not
Yeah.
really.
I because I get killed as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What do you go for
So,
now?
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I should have warded the top as well.
Not really. No. You shouldn't have. You should have.
No?
You should
Oh.
save your wards for here or here.
Where again? Sorry.
Like enemy red, enemy blue,
Oh,
or like
okay.
dragon or herald. To be honest.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. So this is coming into you. Okay. So here I would just give the tower because it's 17 minutes. Just give the tier one. Tier one doesn't really like the value of having a tier one descales really fast in this game. So just give it. There's no point defending. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Oh, so depending on how long the game is going, I mean, it
It
also
it's
affects whether I should.
it's kind of like
Sorry.
this. Let me show you. Okay, let me just erase. How do you like erase everything? Uh,
Uh, you can
all
just
right.
make a.
So um, this is like value, and this is time. This is like tier one tower in any lane. It's like this, and then it does this, and then it does that. Something like this. So I would say that it starts to become unvaluable at like 14 minutes once plates are gone, and
Hmm.
then it devalues insanely fast, and then you know.
Oh, I never knew that.
Well, yeah, you should never really like force to defend tier one towers past when the plates are gone. It's not really like you should still go to lane, after 14 minutes. If you still have a tower, obviously. But if there's like 4 people on it and you're the only one that can defend, then just leave it. There's no point, you know.
Oh, and this whole time I thought if I stayed under the tower, even if there are four people, I thought it should be, enough to protect me. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not.
Okay. Can you see the game again?
It's the main screen. Okay, yeah, I can see it.
Okay. All right. Oh. Okay. All right. So you leave the tower. Um. Okay. Hmm. See, this is tough because you're new to the game, and everyone in your games are all really bad players. So you now usually, if this was like a gold game from gold onwards, you would let the ADC farm mid alone, so you don't split the EXP and the gold, and then you would go to a side lane to farm, so like bot lane or top. Um,
Oh, okay.
but however, this isn't even ranked. This Jinx probably doesn't know what she's doing, so I probably would stay mid. But then the moment you start playing ranked, I would probably advise going to bot or top to farm instead of mid, because otherwise you're splitting
Okay.
the EXP. A general rule is if you're in a lane with another carry, and you're both taking the farm, then that's never a good idea because you get half the the
Mm.
resources from the lane on each carry, right? Whereas if every carry had a lane to themselves, you could just, you know, have EXP and gold on everyone individually.
So basically, if the carry comes into my lane, I should leave for another lane, and
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, yeah,
but if the carry is not in my lane and we lose a tower, I should still stick around to defend the inner turret. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it depends on how many enemy players there are there. Like here, you can leave lane because it's only enemy Jinx defending, so she can match the push. But if there was like Mordekaiser and like Caitlyn and Pike here at the same time, then you should also
Mm.
probably be here because they're gonna push it really fast.
If my Jinx is not there, I should stay in lane. Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah, because you're the only one that's collecting EXP, yeah. But since both of you are here, one of you has to leave because you don't want to split,
Okay.
right? That's kind of.
Is it very important
Is it what?
for me to? Sorry. Now, is it very important for me to defend the inner turret? Because I know you're talking about EXP, but what was going on in my mind was, oh, I got to defend the
Well,
the last tower.
if you look at this, like the only person pushing is Jinx, so your Jinx can just match the push. You don't. She doesn't need you to be here as well.
Oh, sorry. I meant if Jinx wasn't there.
Oh, if Jinx wasn't there, then of course you would stay. Yeah, yeah, because it's solo
Ah.
EXP. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You would, you would.
Okay. Okay.
Basically, any lane that doesn't have another carry in it is fine.
Okay.
Okay, so here you look to engage on Jinx. This is a good idea because everyone's bot, so this is fine. It's pretty good. Um,
I always miss my W. It's so
Mordekaiser
annoying. They
falls.
always feel. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he ults you, doesn't he? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but this is just something that I can't really teach you because you have, like, I can tell that you probably don't know what doesn't know what, like, you don't know what Mordekaiser does. So
I I actually played Mordekaiser, so I really should have. But I mean, there's no way of
okay, I
knowing
guess
whether
it
he still
comes
has.
with experience then, but like, that's never a good idea. Like, Mordekaiser like shits on like assassins. Um,
Ah, okay.
so because of his ult, it gives him like bonus stats when he ults an enemy champion. So
So I shouldn't engage Mordekaiser in general
see, this is why I
until.
was hesitant to say that because it really just like you should just play the game and like I'd rather that you die to Mordekaiser and learn not to go in at certain times than me just telling you, like don't go in
Sure.
on
Yeah.
Mordekaiser because it's not strict. Like, of course you can go in on Mordekaiser, but it depends on things, and the only way you know when to go in is just play the game. That's the only best thing I can tell you. Really, there's no can't really say anything
Mm.
else. Um,
Okay.
okay, so this game is probably lost
Yeah.
because there was nothing being done to punish Kassadin for a lot of the things that he did, and because of that, it's as if he had this entire game to farm for free. So this is kind of like beyond the recovery because Kassadin is insanely ahead at this point. Or okay,
Yeah.
okay, this is actually good, right? Because there's no point being mid because Jinx is here. Now, this is Akali and Veigar did just die, so before they were dead, it's really good to go bot because you don't want to split the EXP, like I said. But they did just die, so what I would do here is I would push this wave in, and then because you can't do anything about this tower because it's so low and it's only Jinx, I would just give it to them and then push this wave recall and then come mid to stop them pushing this tower. Next one.
Oh, okay.
Right.
In my mind, I was thinking, I think they call it what, backdoor or something like
No,
that.
no, that's no, no. Backdoor is only referring to the term of like it's an exposed nexus, and then you go in when the enemy team is like all mid, and then you run in here, and then you take the nexus. That's a backdoor. This is kind of like split pushing.
Yeah,
Right.
I read about it, so I was trying that.
So okay. Uh, Again, I only encourage you to do things that you know you can get an advantage off of, right? So
Mm.
you being bot, you get an advantage, sure, because the minions are here. You can take the minions and everything, of course. But if you had the choice of taking minions here near your base or bot, then of course you should pick this because this is the
Oh,
highest guarantee that you get it, right? Because here it's really really unsafe compared to this.
true.
Okay, so see now Veigar, who's a support, is getting the farm, and then you're getting this farm, but then there's no point getting it because it's not under a tower, so it's not under threat of being destroyed, right?
Mm.
Um, okay, yeah, I wouldn't join that fight. It's 2v4 or whatever, so yeah, just give it to them. Okay.
Yeah. I just found myself running away from everyone at this point.
Yeah, because your team is really bad. Also, this game, you could have easily picked up like 10 kills through just
Oh,
like it, if I imagined myself in this game, I would have gotten. I feel like I would have gotten somewhere between like 10 and 15 kills in laning phase, because this Kassadin is absolute dog shit, and the amount of times that he allows you to roam for free is insane. Um, Combine that with the fact that you have two AD carries in this one game, it's like just Talon has a really easy time against this. Um, so just keep that in mind that there's tons you could have done for this game to be a bit easier. Tons.
I
But
need I need
but
to learn how to see people's mistakes.
but all of your teammates also played badly, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, I need to learn how to spot people's mistakes and when to punish it and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big part of this game actually, and how good you get um, on that really really influences how good you are as a player in general in like laning phase and stuff. So that's really awkward.
You know, until you pointed out the mistakes, I didn't even notice it.
Well, yeah, that's usually how it works, right? And you never notice your own mistakes, but if someone shows you
Ah, that's so
something,
stupid. Why did I do that?
what you
Oh, it's so cringy. I just altered for nothing.
yeah, you did. Yeah.
Ah,
Okay, so you go bot. Again, this is fine because this is much farther than this. So this is perfectly okay. Now, this wave is going to come into you, so I would have channeled the back here since this wave is probably going to get pushed in soon. I guess not. Okay, we stay. So you can see, right, compared to like being top lane or mid, this is a lot more dangerous.
as in being in the bot is a lot more dangerous, is it?
Yeah, because this wave is pushed in towards them a lot further than this is,
Ah, yes.
right?
So it's the overextending
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, kind of, yeah. Okay, Kassadin
I went to the
joins. What's that?
Oh yeah, sorry. No, I went to the bottom because I was not confident. They all seem to be running down mid, so I wasn't confident I could join the team fight. That's why. I mean, it wasn't any. I wasn't strategizing or anything. It was
But
just me being cowardly.
there wasn't really a fight happening anyways. I'm just talking about the farm. Like,
Oh
if you
yeah.
had a choice to farm here or like here, then you always
Mm,
pick this. You know, it's closer
yeah.
to
The,
you.
the the presence scared me, I would say.
Ah, okay. Well, again, it just you just need to like play the game more. I guess there are lots of things that
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so okay, you're dead here, so I'm just gonna skip. Okay, the game's pretty much over. This Cassidon is out of control.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Ah. Um. If Okay, assuming I did manage to punish Cassidy when he made all his mistakes,
Yeah.
he wouldn't snowball to this point, right? Or
No,
is it something that?
no, because you would have won all your other lanes as well. Because what happens is, you kill Kassadin so many times that every single time you come to lane, all you're doing is you kill Kassadin and then you go to other lanes, and that's it. So because of that,
Ah,
you're actually spending more time in other lanes than you are mid lane,
okay.
right? That's the good thing
Hmm.
about Talon is if you're good at Talon, you can really easily win games because you have so much influence on the other lanes, right?
Hmm.
That's the
Yeah,
good
yeah.
thing. Not a lot of characters can do that mid. Like you can't do that on like Syndra or Lux, or if you get fed on like Syndra, then you're guaranteed to kill your lane opponent, but side lanes are still gonna be independent of you.
Hmm. Okay. So, just to remind myself,
Yes.
generally I should be roaming when the enemy recalls, or when he's dead. I should let his wave push more towards my side, instead of shoving like I did, because I just ended up, when he came back, he
Yes.
had all this free
Correct.
farm, and I
Correct.
was I was under itemized. So yeah, okay, I
Yeah.
understand. I can see
Well,
my mistakes.
in matchups where you know you can win the trade, yes, right, because you know you can
Hmm.
win trades against Kassadin. Kassadin is a really good matchup for Talon. Um, but against, like I said, like against Syndra, who is really hard for Talon, you probably just want to rush Tiamat, push as much as you can, and then just leave lane and never come back. You
Oh,
know.
is that considered giving her free farm though? If I keep
Well,
pushing it towards.
you kind of are, but the thing is that it depends on what your win condition is in every game, right? Like in the Kassadin game, your win condition is I can kill my lane opponent, so what I should do is just kill him over and over again, and then get efficient recalls and get efficient roams as a result of him not being in lane. Whereas for like mages, it would be I come to lane, I push my wave, and then my win condition relies on side lanes, right?
Ah, okay,
My win
see.
condition comes from getting kills in side lanes and getting pressure on side lanes, so that Syndra's impact later on is reduced because my teammates and I are sufficiently fed to the point where it doesn't matter that she's also fed through farm.
Okay, okay, I understand.
Mm.
Um, I have a couple of questions
Yes,
here.
please, please.
Do you have more to tell me, or should
I
I
mean,
just go to
if
my?
you, I mean, I basically said everything. If you have any questions of the game or anything you want me to talk about, then yeah, I guess now would be the time. It's
Oh, great. Great, great. Thanks. Okay, so you were talking about hard shoving and stuff. I came up against two melee champions, Yasuo and Zed, in separate games. I couldn't find the replay because they said that the new patch doesn't
oh
allow it
yeah,
to
you
be
can, yeah,
replayed.
yeah, yeah,
So annoying. But yeah, I had the worst time. They just I was completely overwhelmed. Um, I mean, for Zed, my main question is how do I counter his stupid out? How do I counter his stupid W? And for Yasuo, he's so mobile. I thought I was keeping a good distance. I even tried to freeze. My noob way of trying to freeze the wave at my side, but it didn't seem to be enough. And he's always just out of my reach. So yeah,
Okay, so sorry, let me just you basically have two questions. One is what should you do against Zed and what should you do against Yasuo as Talon?
yeah.
Okay, so I'll start with Zed, I guess. So the way Zed works is he is probably the most anti-noob champion in the game. But the moment you understand how to play against him, he's probably the easiest lane to beat for Talon. Um,
Oh.
yeah, it's I understand why you say what you're saying. I understand completely. It's just how the champion is designed. It's very like anti-noob, like if you don't know what to do, then you're fucked. But if you do, then I'm fucked type thing. So the problem with Zed is that Zed is insanely efficient when he has abilities. He is insanely, probably one of the best mid laners if his abilities are up. So the way it
Mm.
works is you basically do not do anything until he uses his abilities. That's simply it. So,
What about last hitting?
okay, so in lane, what do you want to do against Zed? Um, Zed wants the lane to come into him because if the lane is, if you look at the screen now, let's say you're red side, and then if the lane is here, right, where I drew these two lines, and let's say
Yeah.
you're standing there and Zed is there, and this is Talon. So what happens is the lane comes here, and then the moment you're trying to go for a last hit, when it's this far up, Zed simply WEQs, and then he switches position, and then he's next to you, and then he's able to trade. Now, like I said, if Zed has abilities and he lands them, then he's the most efficient mid laner in the game. Now, if you don't allow him to land abilities, he is one of the worst. Okay? So, now let's
Okay.
consider another scenario where the lane is now here. Okay?
Mm.
So if you let him push the lane in, what happens? Okay, you can go for farm, still minimally compared to other matchups if he has his abilities. Okay, so let's say you're going for farm and he wants to punish that. He will use WEQ, but he can't swap back with the W to continue trading because you're under tower.
Oh.
So okay, but let's just follow the story. So he has still traded with you really efficiently because he's trading with you at a range essentially, right? Because of his
Mm.
W, because of his shadow. But you have to realize that for the next 14 seconds, Zed does not do anything. Zed is he's like a minion, like a magic.
Ah.
He's a cannon minion for the next 14 seconds because his W cooldown is about 14 usually.
And eating his Q doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter as much as W, as the cooldown of W. It's still not really that good to get hit by it, but it definitely doesn't matter as much as his W. So what you
Okay.
do is you simply do not do anything at all. You do not trade with him. You do not go for aggressive last hits until he uses W. But the moment he does, you all in him, and then he has nothing he can do other than flash. He actually can't do anything.
So are you saying that I should let okay, sorry if this sounds
No,
stupid, but
no,
do
it's
I
fine.
just do I just stand still until my minions have died? Maybe I'll just try to get a couple here
Yeah,
and there, but
you
I
can get
but
the really safe last hits. Yes, you can get the really safe ones, but there's really no need to trade with him or play aggressively or look for aggression until he uses
okay.
W. But the moment he uses
So-
W, you can literally walk up to him. Like you can
Mm.
actually just walk up. You don't even have to Q to him. You can start your combo with like an auto W, and then once he's walking away, then you Q or something like that. Like
Okay.
he really does not do anything if he doesn't have W. That's how you play against him. Literally everything in lane depends on his W. The moment he uses it, all in, and save your abilities for that moment. Because
So how does
if you don't,
mm,
and he has W, and you don't have, oh, sorry, if he doesn't have W and you don't have your abilities, then that's good for him because you can't trade in that downtime,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So how this will play out would be like you said, take very safe last hits, let his minions push into mine until they're near my tower,
Mm-hmm.
and then just wait for him to get bored and use his W. And
Yes,
then after that I go all
then you
in.
all in him. Yep. And
Ah, okay.
when an important thing is when he is Wing, you have to make sure that you do not get hit by anything from the W. And
If
after
he
that,
if he
if
does,
he uses the Q and the
mm.
E after the W, then you can all in. But if he hits the E and the Q, it becomes a bit difficult because you're down to like, I don't know, like 75% health maybe, and then it's a bit easier for him to do things. But as long as you dodge the W, you can just all in him and he will not do anything to you.
If he W's right next to me, because he did two things when I watched my replay. He W'd. I was retarded. I went up to him. I started hitting him. He put a shadow behind me, and then both of him did their EQ thing. So that was the first trade. The second trade was he put his shadow right next to me. I panicked. I ran away from his shadow, and I got eat lah. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's like it boils down to mechanics, right? Being able to dodge his skill shot.
Well, you should never really expose yourself to a position where Zed is able to W behind you. Actually, that's really rare when
Yeah.
he's able to do that. So you should really pay attention. Like I said, just play as passive as you need to be until he doesn't
Mm.
have W. That's how you do it, and you just have to implement this and do it over and over and over again in every single Zed matchup that you play, and then eventually it will click. You'll be like, what the hell? This is such an easy matchup.
Ah, okay, okay. So, I mean, if you were playing and he puts his shadow right next to you, you would just walk away, maybe perpendicular to his shadow, so that his E doesn't hit you, lah.
Well, the way I would do it is like, um, like, let's say he is there and I am here. This is Zed and this is me. So like, if he shadows like here, then I would walk away by walking here, and then I would do a zigzag like that, because he might
Mm.
try to Q here, but then I
Mm.
I can just shift position that way, and then it doesn't land, right? If you walk straight, then he
Okay.
just shoots it straight, and then it's probably like really likely to hit.
All right. All right.
Yeah, but again,
I'll
this is
keep that in mind.
practice, right? Like, this is just okay. And then for his ult, it's even easier than you think. Basically, you should never use R until he uses R. So once he uses R, then you ult, and then he cannot do anything to you, because Zed's ultimate scales on how much damage he does while the mark is on you. So if he ults
Oh,
you and he doesn't do any damage to you because you're invisible, then it doesn't do anything.
so my R makes me untargetable.
Wait, yeah, you become invisible. They
Okay,
make
because
you
I
invisible.
was okay. I was under the impression that he would still be able to do it. So
No, well, he can
okay.
ult you, and then the moment he does this thing where like there are like three shadows that come onto you or something, and then
Yeah.
the mark is on you, the mark,
Mm.
and then the moment
Yeah.
this animation finishes, you press R, and then you run away, and then once the mark explodes or whatever, then you can jump back onto him, and then he has nothing. He can't do anything after.
Oh, okay. So you're saying I should R after the animation, because I
No,
R'd while the animation was
no,
happening,
don't
and I
do
was
that.
wondering, why am I still injured?
No. You are after the animation finishes, because the thing is that um, Zed's R will follow you. So like, if he ults you here and you walk, then he will end up here at the end of the animation. So
Hmm.
so if he ults you, like, okay, let's say he ults you here and you stand still, but then you are the moment the animation finishes, he won't actually know where you're going because you're invisible. But if you ult before, if you ult before he ults, then his ult will follow you while you're invisible and he will know where you are.
Oh, wow. So I got my timing all wrong,
Yeah,
because
well, it's
oh,
important to
okay. That's
practice the timing on this because it's a really important.
wow. Okay.
Okay, so then Yasuo is a bit trickier. Yasuo is very unbalanced. That's what I will say firstly. He's very overtuned at the time being, I think. Um, so Yasuo against Talon is really, really horrible for Talon. It's
Uh,
really bad. Um, there aren't many things you can do. One thing I can think of is make the most use out of the level 2 power spike. Yasuo can't really do much against the Talon spike at level 2 because he
mm,
won't have the wind wall to block your W. So what I would suggest is try to push the lane really fast at level 1, because that will get you to 2 faster, and then the moment you hit 2, you just all in him with Ignite, and then if that forces a back for him, then you can reset the lane really easily by recalling as well, but then you come back to lane with more items than he does because you get to catch an extra wave compared to him and then maybe get an advantage that way. Um, but it's really, really hard. So if you don't get the level 2 spike, it's really, really bad time against Yasuo.
Oh,
Um, I would probably just suggest getting Tiamat Mobi's like a mage matchup and trying to roam, but even then, like Yasuo can kind of match your roam a lot of times, which is what makes it difficult, and he also pushes really fast. So staying in lane is bad, roaming is kind of average. It's not really favorable. Um, but yeah, I would play like a mage matchup where I would just get Tiamat Mobi's and then try to push, and then if I can't, then I just roam anyways and lose minions, and I hope that I get kills in lanes. That's because staying in lane isn't really gonna do much if he's there, because he can just really, really outtrade you hard. So
yeah, definitely. Because I tried my WQ combo on him, and then I had no way to get out except with flash, and he was so quick. Even though I managed to get
yeah,
the minion
yeah,
near my tower, it was
yeah,
terrible.
yeah. So like I said, I think the most important thing about Yasuo is level 2 power spike, and that's it. That's your only hope. Level 2 power spike, and then hope to get a snowballing lead through that. But other than that, it's fucked. So
Should I just ask if I could trade lanes with anyone
no,
else?
don't do that. Don't ever trade lanes because
Oh,
you're
okay.
not. So you know how you can ban champions in ranked? Do you know this?
Ah, yes,
Okay, so
but
a lot of people ban champions that they don't know how to play against, so they don't actually practice against that champion, so they become really like vulnerable to that champion. So trading lane is the exact same thing. If you're trading lane against like Yasuo, then you will never learn how to play against Yasuo. You'll always stay in that same level, right?
so I mean, this whole mage matchup thing, I guess it applies to Vladimir as well, right? Because it was really annoying because he
Vladimir is a
can,
really
you
bad
know,
matchup as well, yeah.
yeah, I mean, he could turn into this blood cloud thing, and then
Yeah,
I used my ult, and it
yeah,
was terrible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Vladimir, but you can trade a bit more against Vladimir because his like if this is his health bar, he has like a resource bar here, um, and I think it fills up halfway and it can fill up all the way. So when Vladimir has nothing in the resource bar, then he can use his Q. But then if the resource bar is fully red, then he has like an empowered Q, which makes trading
Oh,
against him impossible. So if you catch him while he doesn't have anything in the resource bar, which is the shitty Q, then you might be able to get a trade in him. But then the moment he has the red one, then you can't trade with him. So maybe that will help you. I don't. But
yeah.
against Vladimir, I would do the same thing, just Tiamat, Mobi's, and then Roam, because
And
it's not as bad as Yasuo, but I would it's not good. So.
okay. Okay. Then what about situations where, let's say, I mean, this has happened to me a few times. I've already died twice in my mid lane.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what I should do. Do I go back and possibly feed, or do I don't know. I'm sure you have addressed this just now. It's just that I'm in a dilemma. Should I defend my tower even though
Okay.
I'm talking to
Okay, if you're um so there's two scenarios, right? The first one is you're zero deaths, but your matchup is bad. That's the first
Mm,
scenario. Scenario two, you're in a bad matchup and you're like more than zero deaths. So
yeah. Story of
so
my life.
yeah. So if that happens, then your best course of action is you just simply come to lane and try to take all the EXP and farm that you can. Because if you roam and it doesn't work, then you are beyond useless.
So are you saying I should farm under the tower? I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah, and it will be
okay.
shitty farming because they will zone you off of a lot. but you don't have a choice because if you roam and you die while you're roaming, you essentially lose your team the game.
Ah, okay. So in
However,
this
if
case,
you're
a Tiamat will not be.
no, probably not.
Mm,
You probably want to go for like just lethality. Like if you're in a losing situation, you should never ever build defensive. Never build defensive
okay.
because in team fights, for example, all you want to do is to just deal as much damage before you die, so that your team
Okay.
can have an easier time. That's basically it. If you build
And here
defensive,
I am. Yeah.
then you die slower, but your damage is nowhere near as good because you're behind. So you essentially don't do anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And here I am like building Black Cleaver and stuff.
No,
Oh, when
don't get black.
things go.
No, don't do that.
Okay, another quick question. How do I close the gap with ranged champions and ADCs? Because I was under an impression that, yeah, I can easily destroy ADCs, but turns out they destroy me instead.
You can easily destroy them. So the most important thing about people like assassins against like ranged characters is you want to use all your abilities as late as possible. That's the general rule. So what I mean by this is, let's say there's an Ezreal, and you're trying to approach him. Now, a lot of bad players are going to R and then Q onto the Ezreal immediately as
Yeah,
they see him. Now,
yeah.
why is this bad?
Because I have no get out plan.
Well, you have no plan if he simply E's away,
Oh, true, yeah.
right? So what are you gonna do? You just use Q, you just used R. So what, you have E. Okay, let's say he's not near terrain. You can't use E.
Mm,
W, well, doesn't really do anything to close gap, so can't use
yeah.
W. You can flash, but doesn't really do much. So that's it. You're exhausted. So you want to use your abilities as slow as possible. So the best way to approach this is you walk near the Ezreal, you W first, which might prompt him to use E, and then you R and Q, because he doesn't have anything he can do after Eing, other
Okay.
than maybe flash. But then you can flash, and it's.
So it's about baiting it out of him.
Yes,
Even
correct.
if I
Yeah,
miss my W, he
yes.
will
And
still
the best way
use
to
his
do that
ability.
is use your abilities as late as you can. That's simply it.
Oh, okay. I guess that will come with experience
Yes,
and
this is
time.
another thing that you just have to like like do. But that's my general advice: is hold your abilities, use the threat of you using the abilities instead of actually using them to bait the
Mm.
escapes out, and then all in with everything. I guess after.
Okay. There's another situation I have where happened a couple of times where stupid jungler starts babysitting my mid lane opponent and I end up, 1v2ing them and I don't really know what to do in this case and I ask for assistance and no one
Okay,
listens. So
very simple. Very simple. Firstly, let's establish something. Okay, if you get camped mid and you die mid lane, it is not your jungler's fault that you are dying mid because of them being 2v1. It's not your jungler's fault.
mm.
Okay? First, understand this. So, if you're being camped, something is happening that no one notices, and that's why it's so upsetting in general. The thing you have to understand is when the enemy jungler is mid, he is not anywhere else. That's very
Ah,
important. So, what you can do is if you play extremely safe, even more safe than a bad matchup, if you know that the enemy jungler is camping, what happens is their jungler wastes time.
okay.
That's how you should look at it. Not as, oh, I'm going to fall behind now because he's here and I'm going to lose XYZ, whatever, kills, farm, whatever. That's a better way to look at it. Look at it as he's mid, and we know this for the entire game. So my side lanes have a much easier time now.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
So in a way I'm kind of taking one for the team.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. And you should look at that as a good thing and not something that should you know, set you back. It's not really a setback. It's more of a like well, it helps your team in general. That's kind of what it does. Another thing you can do is if you notice that he's literally sitting in the bush for like 3 minutes or more, you can actually, I would just leave lane and just go bot or something, because like for a gank, because your jungler, sorry, the enemy jungler is never going to be there to respond to it. Um, so you guarantee that you get a 3v2 situation, and it's like really easy to get an advantage that way. But
Even
that's
if when I, yeah, sorry.
really rare where the enemy jungler just literally sits in the brush for 3 minutes. That doesn't really happen. So it's mostly, most of the time it's just he clears a camp, he goes mid, and then he clears like 3 camps, and then he goes mid, and then he clears like another 2 camps, and then he goes mid. So that's really common, and in that case, you can simply just, get some very passive vision in the side brushes, and then just chill out, and just, if he's there, just back. That's it. He's wasting time. It doesn't matter if he's there. As long as you don't die, as long as you don't die, that's the most important thing. First, you have to not die,
So
and then this works. So,
you mentioned passive vision. Does it mean I should try
oh,
to, go around and try to place a ward or
oh no,
something?
passive vision is like the most convenient location you can put. So like, it would just be the side brush in mid, like here.
Ah, okay.
That's it.
And I can do that without having to enter the area. I mean,
Well, of
in
course, you can
case
just
he.
come here and then put it down there. Yeah,
Okay,
come
okay.
here and then.
All right. Okay, I'll do that next time. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, sorry, just bear with me a little bit more.
Oh, please, yeah, it's
Um,
fine.
uh, thank you. You're really like wow. You're really illuminating a lot of things for me. Um, yes. What do I do when? Okay, yeah. Regarding the warding thing, right? I have been, usually when the game starts, I will sit in the brush, and when my first wave comes, I put a ward in the small little bush in the middle of the river, or I will put it
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
near the enemy bank. Is that the right thing to do, or should I wait until my first wave is done and my enemy mid laner has recalled, then I put the ward?
Okay, so this is something. This is like asking me, um, how do I? Uh, it's a very like, it's kind of like, how do I get better at something? You're kind of asking me that, right? Because
Oh, okay.
okay, so it's not something like, I can't answer the question of like where or when you should ward, because it's never the same. Never the same. Like, I can, if I tell you like, okay, at 5 minutes you have to leave lane and put a ward down in the pixel brush. You have to do this. Like, that would never be something that I would say. That's a really stupid and bad way of looking at it. Instead, it should be, what are the conditions of where should I ward? What are the conditions of when I should ward? Stuff like that. That would be like a more easier way to approach it, right? So what I would tell you is, um, wards should, you should never place a ward down at the time of needing the vision. So
Ah,
what I mean by this is, let's say that you want to push your lane in so that you can recall. Okay? You should never
mm.
put the ward down when you start pushing. You
Oh,
should put
okay.
it down maybe 30 seconds or a minute before, every single time. Because that is how you prepare. You, everything you do in this game, you have to prepare for, right? So,
Mm.
like, if you put the ward down and you're pushing at the same time, then you're not maximizing your time. Because you could have spent the time of warding to push and get a better recall, for example, right?
Mm.
So, just to say it very generally, put a ward down in a location where you want it to do something for you at that time. If you want to look for a roam top, for example, in the next minute, because you know that your opponent is going to be coming back to lane, then I would suggest the minute before that you put a pink ward in the pixel brush, for example, so that that vision is clear and you can simply walk straight through the river and up towards top, right?
I
Or
see.
if you're in a matchup where you know that the lane is going to push towards the enemy and you're scared of a jungler ganking early on, after like 1 or 2 camps, well, put a ward down where you think the enemy jungler is going to be right before he ganks you.
Okay. So the tactic of me putting the ward right in the beginning of the game, right when the first wave arrives, is, I mean,
That's
I'm
not a
actually
good.
starting to
No,
wonder,
try not to do that.
right? Yeah.
There's almost no jungler that's going to like bite that.
Yeah.
So it's only there's some extremely fringe cases where some junglers will do red into mid, but that's insanely like it doesn't really happen unless you're against like Twitch jungle, but it's not something that I would talk about right now. I don't think it's worth doing. So
What about tracking the jungler? Is this something that I, as a new
don't
player, should
no
be
don't even
conscious of?
as a new player don't even think about that. It's it's way beyond what you need to like consider. So just you don't have to touch that at all.
Okay, okay. Then just one last question. Okay, I think we addressed this as well in in the game
Mm-hmm.
that you reviewed, where I pretty much lost the lane. But pretty I mean, if the lane is lost, let's say I have lost both turrets, I should just, like what you said, get EXP in the sorry, what did you say just now? Something about I need to stay I need to farm at the final turret right in the entrance of my base. Yeah.
Are you talking about?
Basically,
Yeah, sorry. Could you repeat that? I don't.
oh no. Basically, I'm just asking, what do I do when the lane is lost?
What do you do when the lane is lost? You mean like when you lose your lane, or?
Yeah, when I lost my lane, I fed so much, and I've lost both turrets,
Well,
and yeah.
if that's the case, you can probably FF. It's probably the
Oh.
like probably surrendering is the best option. If you lose your lane to the point where you lose both tier 1 and tier 2, then I would probably say just like it's not worth playing the game anymore. Well, that game, like just surrender. But things you can do to recover, although it's not likely going to work, is just make sure that you take every single minion you can up to your tower. Never go beyond that because you're at risk of getting flanked or whatever, you know. So just make sure you get those minions, and then after that, just roam to side lanes. That's the best thing I can tell you. There's no like magic secret that will save you from a game like that where you lose both towers.
Yeah.
It's really bad. You know, it's just
And
for
this
practice, really.
applies. Yeah, and this applies as well if I lose the first turret, but the second turret is still standing. Because I remember you were saying if Jinx wasn't there, if my carry wasn't there, I should be at that tower and getting EXP and
Yeah,
um
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It
But
applies for how. Yeah. What?
if but except in the case if the entire enemy the whole group decides to clump up mid and like
Yeah,
run me down, I should
if
just
everyone is mid, then you should probably most likely also be going mid. But it really there are some games where that's not a good thing to do. But it really depends. Like I'll just give you a really quick scenario because this is again something that I can't just like. There's no like right. There's no like answer I can give you that's like a fixed thing, right? So I can give you like an example. So let's say that there are 4 people mid on the enemy, and they're
mm,
threatening to push down the lane, right? So
yeah.
let's say that um, you are not really that fed, or that your team is quite behind compared to the enemy, and you can't really deal with the fed carries on their team. Okay, let's say that's the case.
Yeah.
Your best course of action in this situation, a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, is to simply go to a side lane and start pushing that side lane. Split pushing, right? This is where you would
Mm.
split push. Because the enemy team then has a dilemma of if they push mid, then you take towers in side lanes. But if they back, then your team retakes towers mid because
Oh.
they leave for you.
Is this the same problem of overextension that you mentioned when I was attempting to split push, but then Caitlyn and
Yeah, so that was
Cassidy.
okay. So that was overextension because there are enemies defending that position. So if you have one enemy here and the rest are mid, then of course you need to back to defend because your team is behind. and Caitlyn can
Mm.
simply defend your push really easily. There's, you know, so you're not essentially, you don't have an impact on the side lane, and then that would mean that your best course of action is recall and then just join your team and look for a fight and hope that you win.
So, okay, in the case of everyone, just all the enemies clumping up in mid, and I'm trying to split push, the moment I see one of them recalling to deal with me, I should just fuck off lah,
In
and go back.
most case, yes. In most case, again, I'm never going to say yes or no to that. In most cases, is the answer.
Ah,
You just need to do it and just see for yourself. Okay, I lost that game because I did this. I shouldn't do it like that next time. You really need to like just see many situations and decide based upon that. It's not something that I can ever like sit down and answer for you as a fixed thing.
sure, sure. But yeah, I mean, but this definitely gives me a template to
Like
work off on.
I like to draw this, comparison to nearly everything in this game because it just works so well. Imagine that every single thing you do in this game is a dice roll, that you're rolling a dice, and that each decision it's as if you were rolling a different sided die. So for example, if you're farming mid, the die only has one side, and the outcome is always going to be that, which is an advantage, which is good. That's why you farm, right? But if you're, I
Mm,
don't know, split pushing, then the die has many sides, six maybe, I don't know, and there are many outcomes, so you don't know which one it's going to be, right? So
yeah.
this one is less likely to give you an advantage than this one. So this is just an example. You should look at everything in this game as a dice roll and look at it as rolling a different sided die. And based
Mm,
on that, just imagine it in your head. Imagine you physically throwing the die and landing on a number that you want and how likely that is. And based on that, you can kind of see like what you should be doing much more easily. Like,
okay, I
okay,
see,
I'm
I see.
about to start split pushing. That means I'm going to roll an eight-sided die, and then you quickly in your head just imagine yourself like there's like the thinking bubble, and then it's like the die you're throwing the die on the table, and it's lands on five, and it's like, yeah, that's what I wanted. But then what if it doesn't land on five? Then what happens? It's that type of thing. You just have to imagine it this way as a probability of success and failure.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, it's like what you said. I need experience, and I need to die a lot more times before I
Yeah,
can.
exactly, because
Uh,
that's your sample. That's where you're getting your sample from, right?
yeah. I need to gather data.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. I think that pretty much covers all my questions. And regarding the micro, like you were saying, the mechanics, that one is not as important. I should be understanding these principles that you laid out
Yes,
just now.
much more. Yeah, much more. So obviously, like, the more you play the game, the mechanics will come naturally. It's not something that I like. Can you imagine if I sat here and for an hour straight, I'm just talking to you about, okay, when the uh, when you want to play Talon, you need to do Q and then W. But then if your opponent uses his E this way, then you should flash here. Like, can you imagine just me doing this for like an hour, like talking through
Yeah.
every single scenario? Or you can just play the game, and then if you die, then you die, and you know not to do that next time, right?
True. True. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That this
No
was
worries.
yeah. Wow. Thank you so much.
All right. Yep. If that's it, then I guess I'll see you later, and
Okay.
have a good one. Thanks for coming on.
You too.
If you have any
Thank you so
questions, you
much.
can message me on Discord or whatever, and then.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
No worries. Have a good one. Okay. All right.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.